Well, hey guys, I'm Dursey. Usually I just do covers and stuff, but I thought I'd take a stab at making a mix tutorial of something that I was kind of working on today, really just for fun. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a song that has something interesting in it and then try to backwards engineer it to try to get it as close as I can to the original. Really, I just do it for fun, but I think it's a good exercise too. And so this is a cover. I just did all this morning and this afternoon of Jerk by Oliver Tree, and this is on his newest album, well, his only album. But I really like him a lot, and whoever his engineer is does some cool stuff on his vocals, and I like the idea of it. I thought I'd give it a whirl, and so really the first thing I did is I'll show you guys kind of where I was at after I just gave my vocals the normal treatment that I normally give them. And this is just going to sound really dry. I'm not taking off the pitch correction. I'm not going to subject you guys to that. I just did this quick and dirty today. So here's this.
I watch the walls caving in on me. I'm sick of feeling so lonely, but not giving up hope. I guess I'm better off alone.
So that's pretty close to where I would be if I was just kind of wanting to clean up and compress an EQ vocal for any number of projects, although I did compress it a little harder. So I just normally my vocal lineup, I have a level meter on here just to get it in the sweet spot as I'm recording. And then a gate just to kind of clean up any air noise that might be pulled up as I'm compressing. Pitch correction, we're going to leave that as is. We're not going to turn that off. EQ, I try to cut as much low end out of everything as I can. Guitars, vocals, everything that I think is not going to be imperative to the mix, especially in the vocals. People think if you want a really good full sounding vocal that, oh, I'm going to need all that low end in there, but really you want to try to get as much as you can out because that's going to help it sound its best in the context of the mix. And then I think just in this one, yeah, a little mud at 180, and then 2200. Sometimes you can get some harsh sounds. At least I found on my vocals in between 2K and 3K that I like to just take a couple dB out. I never really go crazy, but just 3 to 4 will do it. And so then for compressors, normally I run 2 compressors. The first one I'm trying to get control of the transients. I tend to have a pretty dynamic voice. At one point I tried to train myself just to sing everything for a take at the same volume, and I just can't. So instead I just decided to get better at compression. And so I usually for the first one I'll do 8-to-1 ratio, which is a lot. But I think that it sounds okay. So I'll bypass the second one. Maybe we can just run the first one for now so you can kind of hear that and get an idea.
Don't remind me, I'm minding my own damn business. Don't try to find me.
And I'm spiking it at -10, sometimes even over. On the loudest parts, like some of these huge transients, I would actually be maxing out the compressor, and I do have the distortion on hard. It doesn't make a huge difference, but if we're doing an Oliver Tree type of sound, you want it to be nitty and gritty. And then the second compressor is that I usually add on. I want the median of it to kind of ride around 5, and what that's going to do is kind of take everything and push it up to the top and kind of suck some of the air up with it, which is why I have the gate on there. But you can hear it with the second compressor on. You'll see where it's riding it.
Don't remind me.
At a 4-to-1 ratio, I forgot to mention that.
Don't remind me. I'm minding my own damn business. Don't try to find me.
And so I had that good and cleaned up. And I was really listening to some of the Oliver Tree vocals, and I was like, okay, well, what are some of the things that I'm hearing going on? One thing I noticed for sure is that it sounded like distorted. Like it sounded distorted, but I feel like the clarity of it was preserved. And so one thing that I used to do that, this was one of my favorite plugins. This is the saturation knob by Softtube, and really what this is it's just going to add in some tube distortion or some emulated tube distortion since it's a computer. And the saturation type is essentially it's going to affect the low frequency, the neutral, kind of the mid frequency, or the high. And I wanted to do the high. And so what that's going to do is it's going to break up the signal by overdriving it, but it's just going to do it with the higher frequency. So I'll leave it engaged, but I'll turn it off, and then you'll hear it as I pull it up as it's playing. Listen to this.
I watch the walls caving in on me. I'm sick of feeling so lonely, but not giving up hope. I guess I'm better off alone.
Obviously, we're not going to use it pushed to, everything to 10 or 11 or whatever, but I think the sweet spot that I've found is I don't want it to affect the whole signal. I just want it to affect the higher transients. So say I draw a line that's across here. I want it to affect everything that's above a certain line. You can see it when it's breaking up.
I watch the walls caving in on me. I'm sick of feeling so lonely. But
you can just hear it a little bit at some of the higher peaks. And then one other thing I did, this is another awesome plugin. This is by Greg Wells. This is the Voice Centric. He has a couple that he made that I just like. They're kind of just one knob, and really what it does is it has a compressor and a limiter on there. I don't know what else he has stacked. It's magic. We'll just say it's magic. And then a delay and reverb. I was using the room reverb from the buses that I was pushing a lot of the guitars through for the voice as well. But one thing I was using as well as the one knob was the doubler. And I'll just play it so you guys can hear it, and then I'll engage it.
I watch the walls caving in on me. I'm sick of feeling so lonely, but not giving up hope. I guess I'm better off alone.
I guarantee you won't be able to hear anything unless you're wearing headphones or something like that. But what that's doing is it's taking what was a monovocal take and it's just splitting it a little bit, not a whole lot, just a little bit. And so all that stacked on top of each other has got me here. And I'll engage the reverb buses too. This is kind of a short room reverb, and this is a larger room reverb. You can hear it now.
I watch the walls caving in on me. I'm sick of feeling so lonely, but not giving up hope.
So we're like halfway there. And so one of the things that I noticed, there's a lot of people, a lot of rock and some Indian stuff, they'll double track their vocals. And basically what that means is they will record it once, and then right away they'll record it a second time. Same exact thing, no harmony, just the melody again. And so I did that. All of these are the same, except I added a de-esser, and I have the de-esser. This is Sibilance by Waves. I like it a lot. This is a algorithmic de-esser. I wasn't huge on the de-esser that came with Logic. Just for me, it didn't work as good as I hoped. I probably don't have as much of a good ear tuned in for the higher frequencies, so I thought I'd give the algorithm a good shot. So I have the threshold and that's pulled all the way down because I want it to listen to the whole entire take, and then it's going to cut out. Again, this is not exact. Sometimes I cut it all out. I'm going to take away around 10 dB, and what that's going to do is that every time there's a s or a k or a p, it's going to take that and just drop it down 10 dB. And so what's going to happen is that after I engage this, what's going to be left is the tone of my voice, not necessarily the percussiveness. And why I do that is because it makes it sound tighter. If I pull out all the things, like it's hard to get your the puss to be like right on top of each other to get a super tight sounding double track. And so I just find if I throw a de-esser on there and take all that out, it tends to work better. So this is my second take right here.
You say you don't want me. You call me good for nothing, straight to my face.
You gotta hear that. They're still in there, but they're a lot quieter. And then one other thing I did too was a 50% spread. And so what that's going to take, it's going to take the doubled. I have the doubler on there on the Voice Centric, and just kind of take everything in the signal and just spread it out farther.
You say you don't want me. You call me good.
And then both of them at the same time stacked on top of each other is going to get you there.
I watch the walls caving in on me. I'm sick of feeling so lonely, but I'm not giving up hope. I guess I'm better off
So you want it to sound a little loose because that's like it sounds cool. It's rock and roll, right? But you want to get it as close as you can. And so in the context of everything, I'll show you guys that same part.
Waste of space. I watch the walls caving in on me. I'm sick of feeling so lonely. I'm not giving up on hope. I guess I'm better off alone. Don't fret, I'm never gonna see you, and I'm never gonna meet you again. One thing, when you're angry, you're joking, then treat me like I'm worth nothing.
So I mean that's pretty much it. I guess I can show you guys. So again, critical listening is just listening to a mix and picking apart every little instrument. What all in there do I hear as far as musically? What are the guitars doing? What frequency space are they occupying? What's the dynamic? Is it quiet or is it just kind of pegged the same the whole time? And so just for this one, I recorded everything through my Kemper, and I do have some effects on the electric guitars in the Kemper. Mainly it was just a very short room reverb, some compression. I think the profile was a matchless AC30, I believe it was. And then I had some other guitars that I kind of split out. This one has the tremolo, so it goes back and forth, kind of cool. And then the bass for this, really kind of it was a nasty profile in the Kemper. It's like a metal bass. And then one thing I did for the choruses is I kind of got to the chorus and I was like, the emotion of the mix is not there. It sounded good and it sounded clear. And I actually decided to sacrifice some of the clarity of it just to nail the emotion of it, that it's bigger. I took the bass and I tracked it again and I put saturation knob on there to really break it up. And then I also did a stereo spreader. And this is 100%. So what it's going to do, it's going to take the bass and go whoosh and not leave anything in the middle. So you can hear that in stereo, again, if you have headphones on. And that just layered on top of everything. Just sounds really big and nasty and gnarly.
Don't fret, I'm never gonna see you, and I'm never gonna meet you again. One thing, when you're angry, you're jerking, then treat me like I'm worth nothing. Don't fret.
So, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this was helpful. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you're just curious about mixing. I love watching other people's mixes, and I've found that it's helpful just to take the time and kind of watch people dissect their own mixes. So thanks, appreciate it. If you watched it for this far, feel free to subscribe. I'm planning on doing some more mixing tutorials along with my covers that I do every week as well. So thanks so much.
I watch the walls caving in